Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm the Exalted one from WhatCulture.
Don't forget, if you want to listen to the news as a podcast, you can do so by searching for WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. But coming up today, WrestleMania to be spread over 2 days.
Matt Hardy has finally landed in AEW.
The Exalted One has been revealed.
And is Daniel Bryan stepping away from full-time wrestling?
I hope not. This is the news. Please don't call us heroes.
Hey, here we go. That's the new gimmick, maybe, but we're going to kick things off by talking WrestleMania. 2 days. WrestleMania is taking place over 2 days. WWE announced this. Well, I think Gronkowski might have actually tweeted first. But they announced it with the following statement that I'm going to read to you. It says, WrestleMania, too big for just one night. WrestleMania, for the first time ever, will be held as a 2-night event, streaming on Saturday the 4th of April and Sunday the 5th of April at 7 p.m. ET on WWE Network and pay-per-view. The 2-night pop culture extravaganza will be hosted by 3-time Super Bowl champion Rob Gronkowski. Tune in to SmackDown this Friday to see what the Gronk has in store for Mania. As previously announced, only essential personnel will be on the closed set during the production of Mania. So, I don't know about you, brother, but I, for one, I'm fired up for 2 straight 8-hour shows, baby!
Yes.
This is a good thing.
It is good. It's amazing that it's taken the one time where no fans are going to be at WrestleMania for them to finally make the decision to put it over 2 nights, which is something we've been talking about for quite some time now. But I think this is probably for the best, because like you say, even if it does accumulate to a 7-hour show with what we've got, I think 7 matches announced already. Yeah. We're probably going to get Edge versus Orton confirmed on Monday. It makes sense because it is going to be a tough watch in an empty arena, even though they are going to be doing it in 2 different locations, which we'll get onto in a second. Yeah, I think it makes sense to just do sort of 2-3 hour shows on a Saturday and a Sunday, don't you?
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world, doesn't it? It's going to be a easier to consume product, although maybe not for UK viewers, because we're going to be up really late 2 nights in a row, and that might be a bit of a pain in the ass. But we can't complain about what's going on in the current situation. We've got it easy compared to some people who are genuinely struggling. Yeah, no, this is good. I'm very happy about this. It also kind of mitigates the risk of having like 400 people in the same place at the same time. It's a win across the board. Honestly, I can't think of a single negative. I can't think of one.
And there's also lots of speculation, not just as you mentioned there, that they are going to be filming in 2 different locations, and therefore reducing the impact on people interacting with each other with the limitations that have been placed on that. Speculation they could well tape matches in advance, which is something we spoke about earlier this week.
Oh, indeed. Clairvoyant.
Yeah, and they are going to be, as I mentioned, filming it in 2 different locations. One's going to be the Performance Center. No word yet on where the other one may be. Lots of speculation as to where that could be, but that is going to be an interesting and arguably correct decision, because just your eyes will get used to something slightly different.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to look, you're not going to be staring at the same row of empty seats in the Performance Center for 4 hours, 2 nights in a row, which is nice. Switch things up. Nice few production changes, piece the whole thing together. I'm looking forward to Mania, man. Like, let's not be down on it because there's not going to be a crowd. Let's not worry too much about things like that. Let's just see what we're getting. The company are doing the best they can, short of just cancelling the whole damn thing. That wouldn't be fun. We need our escapism. We need our fun. We need something to take our minds off what's going on elsewhere. And I think WrestleMania is going to be awesome.
And the 2-night card looks as follows. It looks really good, actually, the way they're dividing them all up. On Saturday, as it stands, it's going to be Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins, The Undertaker versus AJ Styles, Charlotte Flair facing off against NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley, and Drew McIntyre challenging WWE Champion Brock Lesnar on the Sunday. That means we get John Cena versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt, Shayna Baszler, come on Shayna, versus Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch, and Roman Reigns versus the Universal Champion Bill Goldberg. So, 2 main events.
Yeah, man, 2 main events. All of those matches have had, whether you like the build or not, they have been built to. They've had stories, they've had weeks and weeks of effort put into them. It's looking good so far. Edge versus Orton, you've got to think will go on that second night maybe, because it's only got 3 matches announced so far. Throwing a Battle Royal in each show, maybe a US title match, maybe Bayley has a title defense. I think this all looks very good.
Although they probably won't do a Battle Royal, considering.
Oh, yeah. Idiot boy. Yeah, we don't need that anyways.
But regardless, yeah, looks really good couple of days. As it stands, WrestleMania 36 is going ahead, but As WWE always says, things can be subject to change.
Yeah, the card is always going to get torn up in Vince McMahon land. Let's move on. Let's pivot over. Let's talk AEW. Big show last night, but before I get into this one, mate, I think you're going to need to put on a little bit of apparatus.
Oh, don't you worry.
That tinfoil hat around your head.
Good.
Right, Matt Hardy's in AEW.
It's a work! It's such a work!
There we go. That's why we have this. He showed up at the end of last night's episode of Dynamite. So what happened was the Inner Circle defeated the Elite to claim the numerical advantage in the upcoming Blood and Guts match, which is still going ahead, by the way. Jericho got the mic afterwards and he was like, "Ha, losers, you suck and we won, and also you've only got 4 guys because Nick Jackson's injured." And then Matt Jackson was like, Chris Jericho, we do indeed have a 5th man. He says this as Vanguard 1 comes down from the rafters and lands in the middle of the ring, and then we cut up to the top of Daly's place, and who is there in full broken garb doing the delete? He's got the crazy robe thing, the hair's looking mental, he's doing the facial expressions, he's probably going, yes. Oh, I sound like a sheep there. But he's doing all of his stuff. Broken Matt Hardy is in AEW. He is the 5th man in Blood and Guts, the War Games match coming next week. This was awesome.
I suppose you could call it all delete wrestling.
Elite.
Now, no, I'm not going to apologise. Bollocks. It's a work. I've never been wrong. Agent Ambrose has been joined by Agent Hardy and Agent Harper, as we're about to get on to. Maybe I should stop making predictions.
Yeah, you've turned me into Muttley there, mate.
No, putting all that aside, this is great stuff.
Lovely, isn't it? Lovely.
I mean, it's been teased for a long time, of course, the Free the Delete stuff, the Bucks of Youth popping up on that, and also Matt Hardy being referenced and alluded to, and possibly even popping up, if I remember rightly, on being the Elite.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take this off. This is cooking my
very
head right
hot,
now.
Yeah.
Yes, Matt Hardy being in AEW is probably the best for all. And as much as some WWE fans are like, another WWE cast-off in AEW, I sense that, and this is not me being biased towards either company, WWE weren't using Matt Hardy, AEW want to use Matt Hardy, so this is best for all parties.
Yeah, I think that, it's another WWE guy. Well, that would be a valid point, I think, if AEW weren't using these guys better than WWE were, and I think the evidence so far is that they are and will continue to do so. This isn't TNA picking up Orlando Jordan or Junior Fatu or name another name that they just... Aaron Rex, Damian Sandow's a good one, came in, cut this promo, I'm going to change the game, and then was just kind of rubbish for a year. It's not that. Like, it's them giving Matt Hardy, who's one of the most creative minds in this industry, lest we forget, a platform and a palette and a chance to be him, hopefully. So... I've never liked the, you're just shaking WWE guys criticisms at all. Maybe if they start ballsing these things up, it'll be warranted. But for me, now, it's lazy.
And let's not forget, yes, there was the New Japans and the Ring of Honors of this world. But the biggest game in town, prior to AEW coming along, in terms of just pure money, New Japan's great, obviously. Ring of Honor's great. Impact Wrestling's great now. The biggest game in town was WWE. So, obviously... if they're getting rid of people or people don't want to be there anymore, then it makes sense. Anyway, let's move on and talk about the Exalted One. He finally arrived last night on AEW, and as we expected even, it is Brodie Lee, the artist formerly known as Luke Harper, of course. He came down last night. There was a promo cut by Evil Uno. He's interrupted by Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian from SCU, basically going, don't talk bollocks, there is no Exalted One. Yes, there is, and his name is Brodie Lee. They had this wonderful big video package which slowly morphed his voice from the distorted thing that we've heard prior to this to his actual voice. He pulled down the hood. He said, as the Exalted One of the Dark Order, we do what we want when we want. And I've written this down just to get this verbatim, Daniels, you are not the first out of touch old man to not believe in me, but I will make damn sure you are the last.
Shoot season never closes, does
No.
it?
And best of all, he then was in the ring. They beat down Frankie Kazarian. Brodie Lee goes after Christopher Daniels, sets up to hit his finisher, which initially looked like the Sister Abigail, and then, of course, he released him out of that and hit him with his devastating-looking discus clothesline.
He looked like he murdered Christopher Daniels.
His head off.
Yeah, poor Christopher Daniels, sending him right into retirement there. Obviously not. Christopher Daniels is wonderful. This was very impactful. Again, the only shame is that this wasn't going down in front of a live crowd in Rochester, New York, but we're not going to harp on that because it can't be avoided, right? It's a shame. That's all it is. The debut was very effective, I thought. I can't wait to see Brodie Lee just unleashed. Like, the fact that they gave him, like, a featured vocal spot, like a minute of solid talking on his first night. It's like, when was the last time he cut a minute-long promo in WWE?
So a lot of people saying that on Twitter as well, saying like, oh, I forgot that he can really cut a decent promo.
Yeah, man. This is going to rule. This is going to be really cool. I love the Dark Order now. Well, what's going on? Wrestling's great.
Yeah, I also did enjoy Xavier Woods tweeting, I finally know what that means now on Twitter. Great stuff.
Here we go, brothers. Let's move on to our last story of the day that I think on any other day would have been the first story.
Yeah.
But today, it's not. Daniel Bryan, I almost called him Daniel Bella there, was on the Bella Twins podcast earlier this week. And I'm just going to read to you what he said when he was on this podcast. He said, WWE has been great. They're going to give me 6 weeks of maternity leave, which so few places in the US do. So I'll get to be home for the first 6 weeks. Obviously, Bree's pregnant, they're having their second child. But after that, it's not long until my WWE contract is up. We've been talking about what we want to do from there, but to me, in my mind, it's almost like I think I'm just done with being a full-time wrestler. That's the thing. I love being a dad. I will always love wrestling. I will always love wrestling. And I will always want to do wrestling. But when I say always want to do wrestling, that means maybe once a month or maybe once every couple of months. Bree is due, I believe, in August. That means Daniel Bryan's WWE contract must be at like September, October time. He's only 38 years old, but it sounds like he's got an eye on a part-time role, maybe leaving WWE, maybe having a lighter schedule. Either way, the man is just looking forward to being a good dad.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for him to take time off, obviously, and considering the stuff that his body has gone through, if it means that we have to have a limited schedule to get Daniel Bryan relatively regularly in WWE rather than a solid year and he just burns himself out and then he's gone completely, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Whatever is best for him, he knows his own body. He knows what is best for him and his family. So we'll just defer to Daniel Bryan in this case.
Absolutely.
Whatever works best for you, buddy. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Nick Kearney, who says, I love Jericho on commentary. He was spectacular last night. Would you guys like to see him on commentary permanently when his in-ring career is over?
Oh man, he was so good, wasn't he? There was a point where they were holding, the Inner Circle were taking turns to hold Cody up in that suplex. And Jericho went, oh, look at him, he's just holding him there like a little baby, like in our little cadence. Yeah, I think it'd be a great role for him. He's so entertaining. Michael Sidgwick calls him the most entertaining man in the world. I cannot think of anyone who is more entertaining than him, aside from maybe Riff Raff. But nah, like, yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see him as a manager as well.
I know they probably aren't going to do this, but some sort of general manager of AEW, he would be wonderful.
Yeah, man. Bring it in.
Jason Sawatka gives us our second question of the day. Jason says, with Matt Hardy and Brodie Lee making the jump from WWE to AEW, what superstars do you see making the jump next? I think the Revival is a pretty obvious one. I want to talk about that, but also about whether or not you think AEW may say, disregarding of the criticisms, let's hold back on picking up any more WWE cast-offs for now.
Yeah, I think it depends on if the person who becomes available is the right person. So the Revival are no-brainers for me. They're heading there. I think that's a done deal, effectively. With regards to others, like, look, if Johnny, I don't know, Fanny Wagon gets released from the developmental, he's never been on TV, I don't think they're picking up any old cast-off. If, I don't know, who's a good example on the main roster who they might not pick up? Someone who's not on TV. If Tamina gets released, right? I don't think they're picking up Tamina. All due respect, there is nobody meaner. if it's someone they look at and think this person can benefit our business and they will perform well and they will pop crowds and they will sell tickets and stuff, they will go, hey, Matt Hardy can do that. Let's get Matt Hardy. And Brodie Lee, he's really talented, but hasn't really had a chance to do that. Let's bring him in. I don't think they're just going to pick up any Tom, Dick, and Brodie. I think they're going to look at these people case by case, and I don't think there'll ever be a point where they say no WWE. Like if Brock Lesnar gets released somehow, they're not going to go, oh no, he was in WWE, we can't sign Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns. I think it's case by case. And
They definitely can pick up the Revival though.
Oh, 100%. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Them and the Young Bucks have been building that for like 3 years with stupid tights and stuff.
They're one of the best tag teams in the world, and it's not my fault that WWE don't recognise that or know how to use them. Final question today comes from Alan Lee. Really interested in this. Good little spot from Alan. Since the commentators kept saying Blood and Guts will be, quote, on the next Dynamite, do you think AEW will cancel upcoming Dynamite shows? I think he means, yeah, more than them saying it's going to be on next week. They just said whenever the next Dynamite is, that's when Blood and Guts is going to be, as well as that parking lot brawl with best friends and Death Triangle and what have you. Do you see them cancelling shows?
We're going to have a street fight, but in an actual street, in the words of Trent. That's, wow, I hadn't even thought of that, and nor had I picked up on the phrasing of the way they were advertising these matches. I think the possibility is always there, because these shows are going to be money losers, right? Like, they're not getting revenue from people coming through the door. I don't know if AEW's TV deal, the new TV deal they have with TNT, is guaranteed money, or if, you know, there has to be an audience in certain venues. No idea whatsoever. It's really tough. I think there is a possibility, but for now, I do think they're going to push forward. I think maybe they're just phrasing it like that as a safety net in case they have to go, look, like the country's going on lockdown, for example, we can't do shows. I think people would understand that, but this is a nice way of preparing for that.
Exactly. I think we noticed it with WWE as well. Before they made the announcement about WrestleMania recently, they basically would say, these matches are going down at WrestleMania, rather than these matches are going down at 3 weeks at WrestleMania. I sense they don't currently have a plan to cancel shows as of right now, but with this, the way things are changing at the moment, they may have their hand forced, as may WWE. Who knows? But as things stand, I would expect Blood and Guts and all the other amazing stuff that's going to go down on AEW Dynamite to happen next week. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and obviously the comparisons are consistently made with the Wednesday Night War to the Monday Night War, and we all know about some of the real milestones there. We had Lex Luger showing up on Nitro. You had Rick Rude being on both shows at the same time, and with that in mind, I want to give a shout out to Henry T. Casey on Twitter, who spotted a man who has finally ticked that box for all of us. The first man or woman, as far as I can tell, I may have got this wrong, but I'm 99% certain, the first man to be on both shows on the same night. Congratulations, Chuck Taylor, hey. Chucky T himself. He was, of course, wrestling as part of the Best Friends last night. And the eagle-eyed viewers amongst you will have spotted that whilst they did those amazing video package highlighting Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, and most importantly, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, his little face popped up in the old Performance Center whilst they were talking about Ciampa and Gargano going through the process to get to where they are today. So congratulations, Chuck Taylor.
Love sexy Chucky T, man. Good for him.
The best person to pick for that, in my opinion.
Best person?
Just the best person.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Chucky T. Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories, including Matt Hardy going to AEW being at work. I'm sure they already had a field day. I'm sure they've already had a field day. I haven't even opened my Twitter today, but yeah, thanks for that. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and Andy Murray are going to be reviewing the Wednesday Night War a little bit later on today. Plus, let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. And watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Andy at
Andy H. Murray. Today the H stands for high. It's Wrestling High. It's Thursday morning, baby. Going to use the power of wrestling to get through this terrible situation. Enjoy your shows, enjoy your escapism, have some fun, take your mind off it.
Exactly. You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. As I said, once again, some people are really not getting this. Please don't call us heroes for coming in and doing the news in a morning. Don't do it. My thanks, Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.
I might start wearing a cape.